Have you ever wondered how you are going to begin the process of selling your home? And even more importantly, where are you going? That, believe it or not, is the number one issue out there right now. And we're going to talk about how and why we want to pay attention to the time of the year you go on the market, because at least here in Minnesota, we are a seasonal market. And we're going to flip the conversation and talk on both ends of the table, if you will, from the agent's perspective and some of the questions the agents ask me as it relates to what do I say to these different price points. If we have a great experience and we're prepping a home and on the market in 5 days with this amazing marketing plan that CACG puts out, and we're turning it and, we're in a multiple offer in 2 days with 7, like we just did this weekend, what do we do to explain that process if the home is a different price point, different location, different story altogether? So today's podcast, folks, is about when you sell, how you sell, the psychology behind the market right now as it relates to supply, demand, and the psychology of the market. So let's dig right in. First, let's talk about what's going on with supply and demand. This is not only here in the Twin Cities and in the state of Minnesota, in the Midwest, it's nationwide. We've been seeing a chronic issue with supply and demand for a really long time, well before it was a conversation point. Post-COVID, 2 years of time went by, right, that really inventory wasn't being created and nobody was really, we were still helping people with life transition, but of course those analytics are way down because there just wasn't a lot of change that took place during that period of time. So what happened during that window, if you will, is we became even more inventory deficit, meaning we have a lack of inventory. And then we came into this new market post-COVID, and it was ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. The rates were crazy, and the amount of movement was absolutely mind-boggling. Not a normal market, certainly not sustainable. That's for sure. It was not a sustainable market. So that psychology enters into the mindset, and it took. I've had, whether it be a $300,000 listing or a $3 million listing, every single seller asks me the same question. What's different now today versus last year at this time? Everybody can agree that 2023 was an interesting dynamic, an interesting year in terms of how we trended and sold real estate. It wasn't a bad year. It was just an interesting year because there was a recovery, I call it, period of dealing with rate changes and then some unknowns in the world. The dust settles like it always does. And now we're getting back into the reality of day-to-day living. Today, right now, we still have a supply-demand issue all over the country. We're seeing an increase here in the Twin Cities. We're up 22% from where we were last year. Why is that important for you to know? Our open houses right now, albeit we have more inventory, are still, screaming for more, and our homes, if well priced in the marketplace, if you enter into the market properly and you're looking gorgeous and you're doing the steps that we implement for our clients to get the outcome they're looking for, and we enter into the market with a healthy, realistic price point, we're selling in multiple offers. That's right. We are still seeing multiple offers in this market right now. So we're going to use the example of a home we just listed last week. We met with the client 10 days ago. We did our ROI analysis and prepared the home for market, and we were able to do that in 5 days. We came in and did our video production and our commercial work, and then, of course, all of the photography as it relates to all of the myriad of platforms out there that your home is viewed on. We need stellar images. That's why we do the design work that we do before we photograph. We implement the 20-point marketing plan, And we thrive in creating a party. That's right, we kind of create a party and we do these beautiful events on the first week of open, and ta-da, it is sold. We pick the date and time once the first offer is written, and we do a presentation. In this case, we were only on for 48 hours with 7 offers, sold and pended. So pended meaning no contingency to inspect, which is still happening in the market. And we are under contract, and I'm moving that client out east. That is a rinse and repeat for us folks right now. And why this is relevant in terms of the psychology of having a dialogue around the why, being professionally marketed, and how the realtors step in and counsel you depending on your price point. If it's well done and done at the right time, you are going to excel with the very best and highest sale price you're going to see, because there's a need. As we all know, when there's a need for inventory, any conversation around supply and demand, if the supply is low, the demand is high. That's a great time to sell. So those of you, which, by the way, 40%, I've said this many times and I'll say it again, when we have 40% of our city and state in an empty nesting mode, you don't necessarily need to sell your home, but you've been processing, you've been thinking about it. If you've been thinking about a lifestyle move, regardless of the stage in life you're in, whether you're in your starter home and wanting to upsize, or you're empty nesting and you're looking to right size, we've got solutions for that. That's what we're known for. And as I coach the team and help them counsel their clients, both buyers and sellers, the number one most critical component to counseling on life change is being super clear about the why. Why do you want to make a life change, and where are you going to go? And eliminating fear. That's what we do. That's the, secret sauce, I say, to all things. And once you align yourself with the right support system and team, getting you to the point where you're selling and closing and have your bucket of money, it's so crystal clear at that point, because then we can take over and help you find that perfect match. Finding the perfect match is a whole other subject, because we circle back, right, to the supply-demand issue. And people will say, so what do? There's no inventory out there. I sell my house. Where am I going to go? Well, in some cases, moving into a rental option for the temporary isn't an option. So we will customize a search and help you find the home privately. How do we do that? We'll go back to Ryan and Danielle. We posted one of many stories that we've featured where we helped right size a family to find the ideal outcome for them, and we did it all through private campaigns. There's a myriad of ways to do that, folks. And for those of you in the industry selling real estate, it absolutely is a roll up your sleeves and dig in and really get creative kind of process. You have to be willing to really put the work in and really understand who the avatar is and seek it out. How do we do that? We do that the old school way. We knock on doors, we write letters. In this case, I did a beautiful letter. I had my clients write it, and I put it up on LinkedIn and some of the social platforms. And that is the response I ended up receiving from a gentleman who's actually a commercial realtor, in fact, who saw the campaign on LinkedIn and called me. He called me twice, in fact. I missed the call over the weekend, and he called me back on a Monday morning, and I spent an hour on the phone with him, and you know what happened in that call? Cari Ann, we've been thinking about a life change. We've been in this home for 12 years. They're on a ranch, basically, so lots of stuff, right? Stuff management is a huge piece of this, which you've heard me visit. Carter's has me holding a mic here, so I have to rearrange myself. What happens is people just stall out. They stall out because they don't know what to do with all their stuff. Stuff management is a huge piece of the process for us, and it's something that I've really made a priority in building as part of the team for every single story that we meet. Because it's a big deal, right? You've been in your home 10, 15, 20 years, and we all collect. We've got children, we've got families, we end up inheriting physical property from our family members, and it's overwhelming. So the number one issue that came up with this conversation is we have been thinking about a major move. We've got horses, we've got a pole barn here, we've got equipment, we've got a house full of stuff, we've got grandkids. We just haven't. And he's a realtor, remind you. He's a commercial realtor. So he's been in part of this industry for a long time. So he knows quite a lot. I said, not a problem. We've got a solution. Why don't we just start at the beginning and let me bring out the buyers and introduce you, and let's go take a tour and see if this is something we can put together. And from that, we created magic. Really, literally magic. Literally the perfect steward to this amazing piece of real estate. It was a perfect fit, all through rolling up the sleeves and doing a little hard work and spending some hours of time counseling the seller because they just simply were unwilling to put themselves in a position where they were public or aligning themselves with the support system in order to get their home sold because they didn't know where to begin and they did not know where they were going. Solution in that case was we found a really cool rental option for them that they are going to stay in for a year while they're looking around and figuring out what they're going to do. Are they going to move down to Naples, Florida, where we have our new office, by the way? Are they going to go down to Arizona part-time? Do they want to have a lock and leave place up in Minnesota? People often do. Are they keeping the lake home or not keeping the lake home? These are all common questions. And really all it requires is an open dialogue, right? And as a realtor, that's our job, to open up that dialogue with you and figure out what the solutions are. And as a seller, it's understanding that there are support systems out there to help you through that. And most importantly, we have a supply and demand issue right now in the marketplace, and the market needs your home. So if you feel like you need to make decisions, there's no better way to do that than to have what I call that, round table discussion and really just lay it out there and get creative. From the agent's perspective, for those of you selling real estate, I had this question come to me at my L10 meeting yesterday. I do an L10 meeting every Monday morning with my management team. I have a sales director, Kevin Coulter. I have a client care manager, Pamela, who is absolutely amazing, Pamela K. Williams. Shout out to you, my friend. She's just a remarkable person and absolutely drives our team and our business administratively. And we have our Care Bear, Madeline Schock, and then my social media manager, Addie Burling. That's our L10 meeting every Monday. And in that meeting, what they said, because they've got a gathering that I don't participate in because they need some time together and they get to listen to me every day, right? And the question came, well, how do we explain this to somebody if we're going to share the story on how we did it, the how we do it when we move these homes through this process that we've got and build the team around you as the client? What do we say if it's a different price point or a different location? That is a very simple answer from my perspective. It doesn't matter where your home is in the state or in the city, and it doesn't matter what price point you fall into, as long as you're presenting your product in a beautiful way, well curated, where it's aesthetically yummy, I call it, because this, as we can see, is a new world as it relates to the visual aesthetic of expectation. That's a real thing. So given the design and build and renovation work that I've spent so many years doing, my entire business model is driven around design and the visual experience. I thrive in that environment, and I think everyone benefits from having a support system in this business, in this industry anyway, when you've got something that's probably the most valuable asset you own, when you are ready to let go of that asset and you're ready to identify with something new as a lifestyle change, driving that entire process through the aesthetic, whether in the future, maybe it doesn't look gorgeous now, but we can make it look gorgeous, or when you're selling it, making it look as gorgeous as physically possible. So the experience to the world is ideal to get the outcome of this multiple offer, quick sale, highest and best outcome that everybody wants. That's our entire drive. That's what we do. And in terms of sharing that story, it doesn't matter if it's a $200,000 listing or a $2 million listing. The processes that have been designed and built out are the same. The processes are the same. So as a seller out there, what I would tell you right now is you have no better time in the market than now to make a decision and let us help you sell your home. And as a buyer out there, you have no better time than to align with us, and we will help you find that right property. And as a realtor in this marketplace, our number one objective is put a team around our client to help right-size them and find them the home of their dreams. As I always say, you need to find clarity, you need to make a plan, and then you can live your dream. Thank you so much for being with us today on Fly the Coop. We'll see you next week.